Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another week of Make It Personal. I am, of course, Pastor Terrell. It is my pleasure and my honor to be able to share with you these little nuggets of teaching, and my prayer is that you make them personal. Don't just take my words and say I'm going to live according to Pastor Terrell. Make them personal and get in with God. This week, I want to talk about giving. Not just giving money, but giving thanks, giving thankfully, giving without end, and giving obediently. More importantly than giving is giving obediently. Can you give where God says to give? And more importantly, can you not give if God says don't? There are around 500 verses in the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, that deal with faith and prayer. There are over 2,000 that deal with money and possessions. And the teachings of Christ in the Gospels, over 40% of his parables dealt with money and possessions. So when you ask yourself, well, how important is money? How important is it to give? It is crucial. And not just money, but the Christian heart needs to be a generous heart that gives and gives cheerfully unto God. Why? Because God wants us to serve Him. God wants our hearts tied to His will. He does not want our will and our actions and our words to be controlled by circumstances like money and possessions. You know, if you're getting up every day to go work 12 hours a day, 6 days a week because you're in so much debt, or you live far beyond your means, or you need to have God first in your life. It's crucially important. And in our culture, we've romanticized hard work and working to the bone to such an extent that, well, you don't quite feel like a man unless you're working 50 hours a week, do you? I'm not saying you can't work. I'm not saying you can't earn money. But your drive needs to be God, not gain. Matthew 6, verse 24 says, "No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and wealth." What is a master? A master is someone you tie your will to and say, what you tell me to do, that will be my will, that will be my motivation, that will be my action, my words. If God is your master, let His Spirit speak to you, and then you do the will of His Spirit. But if you're getting up every day to go serve somebody else, I'm not saying you can't have a job, don't get me wrong here, but it is the heart attitude behind it. Are you serving God, or are you serving your employer? Are you following the Spirit, or are you following the will of a company you work for? Is your sole goal to further God's kingdom on the earth, or to gain wealth and possessions? That is the difference, because what your heart is tied to will decide your actions. It will decide your words. It will decide your motivation. Subconsciously, you will decide things without even thinking about it. So what is your heart's priority? What is your heart's priority? Reading the rest of Matthew chapter 6, I do encourage you to do that today. Verse 25 to 34, it talks about worrying about money. It talks about why you worry about money. But come on back tomorrow and we will continue this thought. God bless you.